here's the end result we're looking for. We have an Adafruit KB2040 board here with a button, and we're going to output A. Each time we press the button, A. This is about as simple as it gets. Breadboard here, a button, some wires. We are shorting pins 6 and 7 here. This was a minor adjustment, and I did this because it's possible to do this even simpler. So this is the computer we're using, Raspberry Pi 4B. This is the simplest possible form here. You don't even need a button, you just take a wire and short pins 6 and 7. And then that'll output B. So the Xiao here is the B key, and the KB2040 is the A key. And you can use this with any RP2040 based board as long as you have the pins. The Xiao doesn't have that many I/O pins here, so I had to make one little change I'll show you. And alright, let's dive into how to make this work. So this was inspired by this great Adafruit tutorial here, and to get started, here's the website. I'll put it in the description here. You go here and then copy this line to your terminal from here to here, then go down, and I already had Python installed and Git and all that, so then copy this line, QMK setup, and then I did have a path problem, so I had to copy this line to the terminal as well here, and then after those 3 lines, then everything was set up and working. So you can click here and download, copy the firmware and move it over to the directory here where the QMK firmware is, or you can copy or you can compile and flash your own version. So to compile and flash your own version, go to the QMK firmware directory in the terminal and then run this line here. What I found is you don't even really need to be in the QMK directory. This seems to work throughout the QMK directory, so I haven't tested it everywhere, but it does work. So then we compile. It's waiting for the drive to deploy. So at this point, what we do, whichever device we want to deploy to, is we press the boot button, and then to reset, press this. This is a power off, power on real quick, and then the firmware will deploy. Now if you want to make a change in regard to what key is output when you press the button, then you work your way down to this directory here, so QMK firmware, keyboards, hardwired, onekey, keymaps, default. Then use the nano editor to open up this keymap.c file. And then up here is where you change the button. So you can call this whatever you want. You can call this, we'll just call it like P, and then Control Save. Control S to save, and Control X to get out of the nano editor. So now whenever that button's pressed, we have to recompile and flash the firmware, but that'll be the P key now. Here we go. I just shorted pins 6 and 7 here and here with the orange wire, and I did have to press the reset button for it to work, but once I did that, it worked. And we're getting P. There was one minor change I had to do to get this to work on the Xiao. And so you go to these directories, QMK firmware, then keyboards, hand-wired, onekey, RP2040. Then use the nano editor to edit this info.json folder, a file. Originally this was GP GP4 and this was GP5, but I switched this to GP6 and GP7. And the reason I did that is because the Xiao RP2040 has a P4 here, but no P5. So instead we use P6 and P7. And what's nice about using P6 and P7 is that both boards have those pins available and it works. Well, thanks for watching this video on one-button keyboards using the QMK firmware. Take care, everybody.